Central Virginia, from Richmond, and my fellow Americans. So let's get going with the 933 experiment. So here's what we're doing. We're opening up the phone lines. We're throwing caution to the wind. We're tearing up the scripts, and talking points all go out the door. It's just a discussion, you and me. And I fought hard to be able to take telephone calls because it's something we normally don't do on Richmond's Morning News. So you and me talking this morning. So here's what I'm going to tell you. This budget and this General Assembly session and all the bills they have, I'm trying to figure out, is it incompetence that we don't know how much money goes to the school districts till the last minute? Now they don't have enough. They're asking to raise sales taxes. Was that incompetence or was that on purpose? The gun laws, they've already been, how many injunctions have already been thrown their way? They've tried to, Jay Jones tried to push them all into one, and a 3-judge panel said, try again. And we have judges issuing injunctions on these, and it hasn't even been that long. Well, it's 9 days, and we're already having court cases go against the Commonwealth. You look at this whole thing with the marijuana laws. They set up retail marijuana through the budget, which, again, somebody has to explain to me why you just didn't put your name on a budget bill, and you put it in the budget bill, and you didn't put it in an individual bill so we can hold you accountable to see what happens. But, okay. Then you have different dates. So some of the laws go away right now, but the new laws don't come aboard until next year. And now you have Commonwealth's attorneys and police wondering, well, which laws are really on the books? What do you do? I'm just asking you, is this incompetence or is this on purpose just to create chaos and mayhem at Capitol Square? 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140 is the number for you to join us. You can also use that number on the James River Air text line. I'll let you vent because I'm frustrated as all get out. I bet you are as well. 833-804-1140. Let me start with Lee on line one. Hey, Lee, welcome. You're on the 933
morning,
experiment.
Rich.
What's up?
Good morning, Rich. I see it as they're power drunk. They want all these things done, but they want them done now. And when they can't even agree among themselves, they're just ramming it down our throats. And going through the budget, I'm not sure that's going to hold up. They've already got the challenges on the gun bans. They have no direction forward on the pot stores. I mean, it's just mayhem, like you said.
And it's causing people to be more on edge. So that's why I'm wondering, is this on purpose? Are you trying to break the system down? Is this on purpose? Hey, we can't have that many incompetent people that have worked on this budget that have left so many loopholes, have so much ambiguity. We can't have that many people in one spot that are doing this. I mean, I think it might be incompetence that they acknowledge and they see and they know that's going on. Like you said, I'm just trying to jam these things down our throats. And here's the other part, Lee. Once they jam them down my throat and we become used to it, then they actually win.
Correct. And we're not going to stand for it.
That's the part where I do have some solace. Lee, I'm going to be honest with you. There's times where I walk out of the booth and I'm a little bummed out. There's times where I come to work and like, oh man, look what's going on in the world. So I carry this in and out of the booth every day. But the one solace I have from this radio show and talking to people is that there are more people paying attention to what's going on right now. That's why when I say don't CA my VA, there's a lot of people that saw this happen in California, but it happened so slowly that they didn't recognize what was going on. Have you ever seen the dancing chickens that they used to have at the fairs?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so they used to they had dancing chickens. They had chickens, and you'd see them on stage, and then they just start kind of dancing. People laugh. What would happen is they would have a hot plate that the chickens were standing on, and if they turn up the hot plate too quickly, the chickens would jump off because their feet would burn. But all of a sudden, they would just turn it on ever so slowly, and the chickens never noticed that the heat was going on. And they turn it up a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and the chickens would start to get a little bit more uncomfortable, and they'd start kind of, standing on one foot, standing on the next, standing on one foot, standing on the next. They turn it up just a little bit more, not enough to make them jump off the hot plate, but just a little bit more to be uncomfortable. And before you know it, after a couple minutes, they turn that heat all the way up, and now the chickens are jumping up and down because it's so hot, but they didn't realize what happened underneath them to jump off the hot plate. That's what happened in California, where they just kind of eased it in a little bit. And by the time they got to where they wanted to go, which is the hellscape that California is right now, the people of California didn't recognize it before it was too late. Here in Virginia, thank goodness, they're trying to do all of this in 6 months. And the people of Virginia are like, what? No, we're not going to put up with this. That's where you look at the gerrymandering. They thought they were going to be able to push that through because they had so much money. The people of Virginia rose up and at the last minute almost defeated that thing. It was going to get thrown out by the courts anyway. But I think the people of Virginia are waking up like, if we don't get involved and we don't speak up, we will become California.
Well, luckily we have legislators like Glenn Sturdivant that are fighting these fights.
But we have to have more of those. See, here's what I'll tell you. In the last election, and I'll tell you, Winsome Sears didn't run a perfect campaign. Abigail Spanberger did. She ran a flawless campaign. That's why she won. But we also had a bunch of people that voted for Donald Trump that didn't show up to vote for any of the Republicans. And let's be honest, the Democrats whooped the Republicans and they took them out. They completely overwhelmed the Republicans in the last election. That's why they think they have this mandate to go with all of these liberal, crazy West Coast progressive ideas that you now see shoved down our throats in Virginia. And the people of Virginia are like, what in the world? Hey, that's what happens when you don't show up. That's what happens when you look back and say, Donald Trump's in the White House, I can go back to my life. They're not backing down 1 minute. They're either going to fight because they hate Donald Trump or they're going to fight because they're winning. Republicans have to do the same. Conservatives have to do the same. We can't just assume that Donald Trump and our legislators are going to do the right thing. You got to give them juice, and everybody behind them has to give them juice. And that's the part where the people of Virginia, Southwest Virginia, Henrico, Chesterfield, you got to stand up and make your voices heard bigger than anybody else, because they're counting on us to kind of go back to living our lives, raising our kids, coaching Little League, showing up at PTA meetings, and just kind of being there. I will tell you this as someone who's watched all this internally now for the last year and a half. They don't quit. The left doesn't stop. The left will not relent. It's about power. It's about power. Have you ever noticed when Republicans, we talk about leadership, we talk about love of country, when you hear people talk, I'm trying to think, when was the last time you heard a Republican stand there and talk about power? We're going to come to power. We want the power. How often do you hear Democrats talk about this? Graham Plattner is a perfect example. They're willing to give in to Graham Plattner, who is just I don't even need to beat him up. The tattoos, all the stories, all the rest of that. They were willing to overlook all of that. Why? Because he was going to help them return to power. You can hear Democrat after Democrat after Democrat, liberal, progressive, Democratic socialist. They all say it. We're there and we supported him because he can beat Susan Collins and we can get power back. That's what it's about for them. For them, it's about power. And if they get the power, they will impose what we see right now in this General Assembly and in the Commonwealth of Virginia. They want to make it permanent. You guys have a phone line for you, 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. Somebody said, I agree with your comparison to California. Somebody else said, I've spent a fair amount of time in Portland, Oregon, and I think that's what's happened there. Yeah. I think you're 100% right. I grew up in California, moved to Florida. I saw Florida, for instance, really interesting when you think of Florida. Florida was a a battleground state. It really was a battleground state. I knew the former governor, Charlie Crist, lived in the same town, got to know me, come out to baseball games. I didn't know Rick Scott at all, who became the governor after that, and I've never met Ron DeSantis. I knew who Ron DeSantis was, but never got a chance to meet him because he wasn't the chosen one to become the governor of Florida. He was actually the outsider. In Florida, one of the most popular, one of the most powerful positions you can have in government there is believe it or not, it's the chairman, it's the Agriculture Commission is one of the most powerful positions. There's a guy named Adam Putnam. He was poised to move up the ladder, and Ron DeSantis beat him as an outsider. At that point, the state was about 50-50, and DeSantis barely won, beat a guy named Gillum. I think that was his name, Gillum, who ran against him, and he won by, I think, maybe 1,000 votes. That guy that I just saw, the guy who ran against DeSantis two cycles ago, just got arrested again. That's how close for Florida was to falling blue. They put DeSantis in there. DeSantis has done a fantastic job running Florida. They had hurricanes coming in. He was so good at storms and all the emergencies. Fantastic governor. Ran the state well. Now it's a solid red state because people got to see what happens when you have great leadership. Flip the script on this. What are we seeing now for Virginia? Are we seeing great leadership when I don't really know whether I can purchase a firearm or not? I don't really know whether our marijuana laws are legal or not. I don't know when the budget's going to get done, so I don't know whether I have money for my school districts or not. And I have a lot of people confused. That's not leadership. That's confusion, chaos, and mayhem. So my big question is, are they incompetent, or is this on purpose just to get you back on your heels, to get you comfortable with things like we're going to take more of your guns away?
Jeff.
Are they doing this on purpose to say we're going to put you in the regional greenhouse gas initiative? Phone line open, 833-804-1140. Jeff on line one, welcome. You're on the 933 experiment.
How you doing, Rich? How you doing?
Good, brother. What's up?
Just talking to you, but the way things are, that without in my mind, in my heart, the way things are going, these people are just lining their pockets with money. That's all they're doing. And like you said, like we've heard, power, 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 so, but they're hoping the drug people will vote for them and the gun rights we want, but it's just terrible. It's terrible. So anyway.
Listen, have you ever met a politician who didn't want to line his pockets? Why do we spend $1.5 billion to elect a president, to elect a person to a job as president of the United States for a job that pays under $300,000? That's not a very good return on your investment. I'm going to spend $1.5 billion to be the president when the job, I think they make like $300,000. I don't know. Trump donates his money to charity. He doesn't even take a paycheck for being president. He's president. He does it for free. And now I know everybody's going to go, oh, look how much money he's made in his office. He gives his paycheck back. But there's a reason why they all run for this office, and they all want it so badly, and people are willing to. And you're right, it is about money. And think about this. I spent the weekend up in D.C., and we stayed in Fairfax County. That's a really nice county. Loudoun County, really nice. Alexandria, all those nice counties. Why? What do they build? They don't build anything up there except for using my tax dollars and your tax dollars. Yeah, so you know what? Follow the money. Follow the money, 100%. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Opens up a phone line for you, 833-804-1140. So I guess I'll just throw this out. How frustrated are you? How frustrated are you that you see which way this Commonwealth's going, and what are you going to do about it? How are you going to stand up? Because I'm telling you, the line is in the sand right now. The president said this on the 4th of July, the Democratic Socialists, Marxist, Communists, whatever you want to call them, they are ascending and gaining popularity amongst the old hippies that are left over, the boomers, the far left extremists, and our kids who have been taught that socialism is the greatest thing in the whole wide world. They're gaining strength. Mamdani, AOC, Bernie, they're gaining strength. Are you seeing that? Are you feeling that? Do you understand that? And you look to see what happens when liberals get a hold of a state and you see where we're going. This audience needs to grow. People need to speak up and not be afraid to make your voice heard. That's why I fought for the segment called the 933 experiment. And part of the experiment is you need to learn how to use your voice and not be afraid that someone's going to tell you or say something. Here's how I know. All those years on the radio, I was afraid to actually speak my mind when it came to politics in America because I was told to shut up, sit down. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. 30 years on the air, I was always told, you're not allowed to talk about politics ever. You've been told that at work. You've been told on social media. You post something, how many of your friends either unfriended you or ghosted you? I didn't know you were one of those people. I had somebody the other day, known somebody my entire life, because I didn't realize Rich was a conservative. I never thought he was. And they're like surprised. Why? They never talked about it because as conservatives, we've been told to shut up. We've been told to stand down. We've been told that our voice doesn't matter for the longest time. I'm telling you that it does. But we all have to realize that, and you have to be able to come out and speak. You have to be able to come out and speak. 833-804-1140. And again, I'll take everyone. I promise you.
1 minute.
I promise you that we have people that are willing to speak up. They're trying to get comfortable with this. They're trying to get comfortable with this. I got a lot of other text messages. People are mad. How dare you say politicians? Listen, it's a business. It's a business and everything else. So with it comes good people, bad people. But the idea that people up in the swamp are doing the right thing. I think you go up there with one idea, but something else happens once they get into you, and that's why we love our congressmen, but we hate Congress. All right, is that it? I'm done. You telling me to shut up? All right, he's telling me to shut up and talk. Time for our national anthem, brought to you by Freedom Services at Training, the biggest little gun store in town, located in Mechanicsville. All right, we're back tomorrow. George Allen joins us on the program. Dave Saunders is off fishing, so Leanne Pillow pinch hits, giving us everything we need to know for the weekend. All right here on News Radio WRVA.
Please stand for the national anthem of the United States of America.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming?